You know, spatial sound is an important part of our human experience. We're always listening, and we're always locating sounds around us all the time, and our brains are constantly interpreting and processing sound through our ears and positioning those sounds in the world around us. Hololens is a head-worn holographic computing platform. So spatial sound on Hololens is just a simulation of what we're hearing all the time in the real world, and it makes the experience really natural, really usable, and really immersive.
Most people, the first time they try the device, and when they hear sound from around them, in space around them, they think that there's speakers located in the room around them that's playing that sound. That's how convincing the effect in the simulation is.
So in general, sound is a mechanical wave. The way it goes around the head of the human determines what kind of sound pressure we'll have at the entrances of the ear canals.
Early on, we realized that we needed an exceptional technology, so we partnered and collaborated with Microsoft Research.
This is the headquarters of Microsoft Research, which is the second largest research organization in computer science in the world. So when my team started to work on the spatial sound system for HoloLens, we needed data. We needed actual measurements of the spatial hearing functions of humans. The room is called an anechoic chamber, and regardless of the strange look at the room, it is actually an acoustical measurement device. And then we actually added this chair to place a human being, to put two microphones with air plugs in the ear canals, and then to rotate this rig behind me with 16 loudspeakers. And for less than 5 minutes, we measure 400 directions of the spatial functions, of the spatial hearing functions of the human which sits here. It is frequently underestimated how much a good spatial sound system can bring to the realism of which comes from the visual part, especially in the virtual reality devices and mixed reality devices. It has been kind of underestimated, the value it can bring. To create a good spatial sound system, we had to overcome two problems. One of them is to create a realistic rendering of the audio, and the other is to provide a nice and seamless tracking of the head position. And I believe we succeeded, because today the final user don't even know when and how the personalization of the head-related transfer functions happen. We made it transparent for the user. So head-related transfer functions are literally a set of filters. Think about a sound source right here. When it starts to emit sound, the sound reaches the right and the left ear a little bit different. So this can be represented as a filter. The brain will think the sound is there. If we know these pairs of filters for all possible directions, all around us, we can trick your brain that the sound comes from any desired direction.
When you're trying to trick the brain, ears and the shape of the ear and the distance between the ears play an important role in us human detecting where sound is coming from.
When we move something, we hear a sound that comes from it, right? And so we're used to hearing these spatial sounds in context with the world that we live in. And so when you put an emitter, a sound emitter, on a hologram, the more realistic we can make that holographic spatial sound in your environment, the more your brain is going to interpret that hologram as being really in your environment.
Unfortunately, this depends on the shape and the size of the human head. It depends on the size and position of the ears. Simply put, those filters are strictly personal.
So we are looking at ways to personalize these filters without necessarily burden the user with a bunch of steps. When you do these things in the research environment, you have an anechoic chamber and you put little microphones in people's ears and you send sounds in the speakers from a big arc, and then that's moving around them. And we obviously can't do that even in the Microsoft Store environment. when you use the HoloLens for the first time, you go through a wizard that tries to detect the distance between your eyes. We call it interpupillary distance, IPD. And basically you hold up your finger in several locations for each of the eyes, and then the IPD is calculated. We worked closely with the research to find an algorithm that allows us to take that information and based on all the scans that we've done in the past, try to correlate the eye distance with a distance between two ear canals. And so we do our best to modify the coefficients in a way that matches that average. We identified different levels of personalization. We targeted something in the middle where we could use some information that we get from the device user when he's using the device and use that to make them a little bit more personalized than the average that were based on hundreds and hundreds of scans of people's heads and necks and ears and things like that.
It's telling your brain, hey, I know it seems kind of weird, it's a hologram, maybe, maybe it seems sort of unnatural. The sound that's coming from that hologram is really pretty natural. I'm hearing the reflections and the acoustic properties of that sound, and so it really makes the hologram feel like it's actually there.